Do I ever get anxiety while cosplaying? Yes, 100%. I think there's a very big difference between nerves and anxiety and full on anxiety. I think if you want to do something well and you want it to go well, you're obviously going to be nervous because you want it to go well and it shows you care. I definitely feel like there have been moments where anxiety has kicked in. Um, for me specifically, it has a lot to do with prep. You know, the truth being, I do have some stomach problems due to my diet over the past 20 years, 20, 30 years, and that has really impacted that. I really have to watch what I eat because there are some things that if I do eat them, I know I'm not going to feel great the next day. So when it comes to anxiety, if I have something that isn't going to sit well with me, I do have anxiety. Even if I don't, even if I'm not feel, even if I'm feeling well, I will get anxious of, is it going to happen? Um, I personally try and do everything I can to prep for the worst in case. Usually if I'm walking around in a cosplay, I usually have a bottle of water with me, no matter what I'm wearing. Thankfully in Ghost Rider, he had a big coat, so I was able to put it in the coat. Usually have a bottle of water with me just in case. I usually have a couple Tylenols with me just to be on the safe side in case I start to get a headache. But really trying to prep as much as I can before I hit the floor is always my best advice. You know your body best, and you know that if you're in a costume that is very warm, figure out a way where you can cool yourself down so you don't overheat, whether that is a bottle of water, whether that is installing a fan somewhere, if it's, a big mascot style costume. There's definitely moments where I've put a ton of time and effort into a costume and it's the day of, and I'll even say it Saturday morning. I was a little nervous about coming into the convention. I was having some anxiety of, am I going to be okay? Is, my stomach going to kick off? If something does happen, where can I sort of get away from everybody? Is there, especially because my stomach, washrooms are easily accessible. What happens if something goes, happens on the way home? All those things happen and all those things can definitely trigger you. And, like I said, do the most prep you can before you get to that moment. One thing that I would highly recommend if you're going to a convention in a cosplay and it's a new con and it's a new route that you're going to, say, for example, if I went to London Comic Con, I would do everything in my power to plan the route as best I can to find, restaurants that are open 24 hours, stuff like that. Again, I'm speaking mostly about my stomach because that is my biggest anxiety. But whatever makes you get anxious, whatever your triggers are, try and do your best to prep beforehand. You'll never prepare for everything, so don't, and it does happen. All you can do is just try your best to mitigate it as best you can if it happens. If it is an emergency and you need someone's help, please ask. I'm telling you this as a person that's gone to 13 years worth of conventions. No one is going to say, I'm not going to help you. There is always people around. Complete strangers will help you if you're having an anxiety attack. So when I say you're not alone, you're not alone. There is always someone around to help. So don't feel like, that the old expression of I'm alone in a crowd. It's not something that happens at Comic-Con. We're always there to help, no matter who it is. So that's my advice. Just try your best to prep as much as you can, as early as you can. The only other thing I would say is if it's a new cosplay, definitely do a walk around at home before you take it to a convention. I am guilty of not doing that, and I've paid for it before. Put it on, walk around your house, sit, stand, turn, try and go through doorways and such. just so you can get a feel of the costume and see how your body reacts to it after a certain length of time. Because especially with Ghost Rider, there were times where I was really getting hot, and there were times when I was outside when it was beautiful, but then, you know, body temperature has to change really quickly, and that can sometimes, make people anxious. So do as much prep as you can, and you should be pretty good. And like I said, if the worst case scenario happens, every single person at the convention will be there to help you. So don't feel like you're alone.